In a past video, we discussed that the sample correlation coefficient, represented by R, is a measure of linear strength and direction in a relationship between two variables. But oftentimes, we want to know if the population correlation coefficient, represented by this symbol called rho, is significant. So, can we use a sample of a small amount of ordered pairs to make an inference about the population? For example, here's a data set of passing yards for a quarterback and points scored for his team. Can we use this sample data set to make an inference about the population? This is where the level of significance comes in. The level of significance, which is represented by alpha, is usually set at alpha equals 0.01 or alpha equals 0.05. And what this is telling us is that at a level of significance of alpha equals 0.05, we will probably find that the population correlation coefficient is significant when it's really not 5% of the time. So 95% of the time, we would be correct in finding that population correlation coefficient is significant. If alpha equals 0.01, then it would be 1% and 99%. But at 0.01, we could miss some significant correlations. And how this works is we use this table, which is called the critical values for the Pearson correlation coefficient table. And it can be found in a stats book or online. And we get a critical value from this table based on n, the sample size, and alpha. So as an example, if our sample size was 17 and alpha equals 0.05, in the table, in the n column, we would go down to 17 and over to the alpha column for 0.05 to where these intersect, which is 0.482, and that would be our critical value. We would then compare that critical value to the sample correlation coefficient, R. If the absolute value of R is greater than the critical value, then there's enough evidence to show the correlation is significant. If not, then there's not enough evidence to decide the correlation is significant. So, using our passing yards and points scored data set, which has an R value of 0.6178, the sample size is 16, and using a level of significance of alpha equals 0.05, in the table, that has a critical value of 0.497. In this example, the absolute value of R is 0.6178, which is greater than the critical value of 0.497. So we would say there is enough evidence at the 5% level of significance to conclude there is a significant linear relationship between a quarterback's passing yards and his team's points scored. Alright my friends, that be the basics on testing the significance of correlation using a correlation coefficient table. Hopefully this video helped you out. I do have more videos right there for you. Till next time, I am out of here.